it'll slow all enemies within its bubble. And as you can see, it'll slow down any projectiles entering the sphere. Great for dealing with those large health pool enemies at your leisure. Dealing with ghosts becomes child's play. Great for pinning orphans in place whilst you do them over. Good for slowing Anakim in his cruise roll. Great for helping you survive those leaping before you look moments. No upgrades for Hand of God, and to unlock it you have to kill 1,701 ghosts. That's a lot of ghosts, but it's well worth it. What do I think? Best arrow in the game. So many applications. Offensive, defensive, can get you out of trouble, can stop you getting panicked. What's not to love about Hand of God? Fire once, and it'll fire thrice. Good for dealing with groups. Also worth noting you get loads of ammunition. If you can keep it steady, you can get multiple headshots pretty easy. It can really up your rate of fire on those tanky bosses, but it's a little bit difficult to control. No such problems with the crossbow. As you can see, you can really rein in the damage on someone like Anakin. Keep it steady and keep it on the head. Again, better on the crossbow, but you can really hose down Gabriel with it. Unlock Hail of Arrows by killing 579 knights. And although Hail of Arrows hasn't got any specific upgrades, anything that increases normal arrow damage will help. And what do I think? Although it's a good arrow, it's a much better bolt. Really find that it accentuates the crossbow's features of rapid fire and heavy damage, and it's easier to keep under control with it. Fire it at or near a close enemy, and it will stagger most within a reasonably short range. You can floor abominations. Fantastic. It'll stop projectiles, however, you could just dodge. No effect on incubi, but it will snuff out their fireballs at least. Brilliant. Deletes a Banshee's magic. Turn an easy Cupid kill into a more difficult one. Excellent for getting a look of contempt out of an orphan before it buggers off. The one enemy you'd want it to push away? Nope. No effect. Anakin? Nope. Gabriel? Nope. Do nothing to his fireballs. Ineffective on Asmo's skulls, and it won't stop the boulders. Unlock Unholy Wind by killing 21 ghosts. No upgrades. And what do I think? More useless than a chocolate teapot. You pick this up in a dream, you better wake up and apologise. Pop it down, and anything within the aura will take increased damage. You'll know if enemies are in the aura because their health bar will go blue. The effects last about 6 seconds fully upgraded. Has its uses against Anakin. Combos very nicely with some other arrows. Those high health pool enemies that you do want to use it on either won't stick around long enough, or they'll get staggered out of it. Unless you can get the drop on orphans, it's not really any good for them. It's another one of those heavy arrows with the weird arcs, are not great for distance. It just doesn't last long enough. Not really much good against Gabe. A lot of the time if you catch him in the aura, he will just fly away. Unlock Holy Light by defeating Gabriel. Enlightened is the upgrade. Kill 266 enemies affected by Holy Light. You'll then increase the duration by 20%, but it's just not enough. And what do I think? Doesn't do enough, doesn't last long enough, difficult to use at best, not a great arrow. Fire it once and it'll fire 3 in quick succession. It'll also apply the burning effect if your enemy's tough enough. Keep it steady and you can put a hell of a lot of damage onto your tanky bosses very quickly. You can really get a great tune out of this one with the crossbow. The end results speak for themselves, and you can put a lot of hurt on Gabe very fast. As it's flaming, it's considered a light arrow, so it has a much shallower arc. A little wasted at distance because hitting all 3 shots can be quite difficult. Unlock Hellfire by killing 3,666 abominations. Hellfire will take advantage of Let Them Burn. By killing 266 burning enemies, you'll double the burn duration. Increasing the duration is going to mean more damage over time, and we always want that. And what do I think? The increase in fire rate is nice. The burning is cherry. Where this really shines is when you pop out on the crossbow. As a bolt, then you can really take advantage of that rapid fire. Good for setting traps. Like any explosive arrow, it's useful against groups. Once planted, they'll stick around for 16 pulses. It's about 25 seconds. If you're quick, you can lay out a nice little welcome mat for Anakin and it'll do a fair amount of damage. can use him against Asmo's blisters in a pinch. He's got the same weighting as other explosive arrows, so it's a little weird to fire at distance. As spiky as it looks, it won't stick to enemies, it'll just drop to the floor. Unlock Incursion by killing 181 ghosts. One step ahead is the upgrade, kill 101 enemies with Incursion, plus 25% damage. Quick to unlock, worthwhile doing. And what do I think? It's actually pretty good. You are looking at the most explosively damaging single arrow in the game. You don't get that many in the quiver. You are going to want to swap this out for your multi-explosive arrow variants as you progress. Fire it and it'll home in on your closest enemy. It's also capable of headshots. Fantastic for Cupids. It'll just home straight in. Make your long distance sniping a tad easier. Can help you pop those blisters on Asmo if you're really struggling. You can fire just over Asmodeus' shoulders to wreck his dorsal flanges. Although they can get headshots, it's very inconsistent. With all the capacity upgrades unlocked, you only get 19. Nice easy unlock for Divine Sight. Hit a Cupid with your shield, job done. And although Divine Sight doesn't have any specific upgrades, anything that increases normal arrow damage will affect it. And what do I think? Not good. The damage is only ever going to be standard, the homing's nice, but the amount that you get in the quiver is frankly pathetic. There's much better arrows out there. Great for nailing orphans, quick shot. Very decent crowd control. Do a number on Anakin very fast, especially the multi-shot variants. You can start proceedings on Gabe with a ton of damage. Smash those horns in the Asmo quite quick. You can pop all the blisters in one, but be ready to move. Heavy old arrows, so the arc's a little different. You won't be sniping with this. Unlock it by killing 21 monks. 3,000 odd will get you Cataclysm 3. And just over 3,500 Cupids will get you Cataclysm 5. Turn to Ashes the upgrade, kill 666 enemies, even more damage. And what do I think? Great for clearing rooms, good for all the bosses, excellent at killing enemies. Awesome arrow for a room clearance. It's a great arrow for pursuing orphans into busy rooms. With the right setup, it's a nice simple kill on Anakin. You can put a few down as a trap for enemies that are going to teleport in or advance on you. Not much good against your aerial threats, unless you can hit near. Although it can put out a lot of damage, it does take time. You can unlock Ball Lightning by killing 149 knights. Unlock the 3 times by killing 266 Cupids. Smite is the upgrade. Kill 666 enemies with it. It'll get even more lightning-y. It just means more damage. And what do I think? Great for groups. Always take the 3 over the 1. The difference in ammunition is negligible, and you're always going to want more balls down. As long as you hit something, it'll chain lightning across all the enemies in the vicinity. Quick room clearances against multiple enemies is where it really shines. Has its uses on boss mobs. Good arrow for pursuing orphans if you can hit them. Brilliant for clearing the skies on Paradise Lost. Got to be able to make that initial hit or it won't trigger. Not really any help against those large health pool enemies. Unlock it by killing 9 Banshees. You'll find them in Paradise Lost. Sinful Current is the upgrade. Kill 666 enemies. It'll then chain across 5 enemies as opposed to 3, and it'll make a good arrow a little better. And what do I think? Yeah, it's got its uses. Good arrow for dealing with the pack. Shame it doesn't have more in the quiver. A shame about the outplay damage. It won't help you in the later cycles. Simply hit an enemy with it to trigger the burning effect. They'll then continue to burn for anywhere from 3 to 6 seconds depending on your upgrades. Any flaming arrows considered light in this game so the arc doesn't drop off as fast. 5's not bad against Anakin. Remember to angle the spread so you hit as much of him as possible. 5 times is not a great option for orphan assassinations. The single version of Wildfire is unlocked from the start. You can unlock Wildfire 5 by killing 966 Cupids. You'll find plenty of those in Paradise Lost. Let Them Burn is the upgrade. kill 266 burning enemies, you'll then double the burn duration. Makes an average arrow a little better. And what do I think? The single's better than nothing. You'll want to swap it out for something more powerful. The 5's got its applications, but they're few. Hit or land near to curse an enemy. It'll then keep on taking damage until it either runs out or kills. If it kills, it'll spread on to the next enemy. Once cursed, you can assist with the killing on those tougher enemies and the curse will continue to spread. It'll tear through Cupids fast. A cursed orphan can't fly away even if you do lose line of sight. Unlock Curse of God by killing 159 Banshees. Bane's the first upgrade to go after. Kill 7 to 8 enemies with a single curse. You'll then almost double the distance that the curse can spread. It's also worth noting that curse can go through ceilings, walls and floors. Purging the Weak is the second upgrade. Kill 266 cursed enemies. You'll know if they're cursed because their health bar is blue. You'll then deal an additional 3% damage based on the enemy's maximum health. What do I think? It's another great arrow early doors, it's just not doing enough damage at your later cycles against your tougher enemies. Fairly simple to use. Arc it to as many enemies as you can. Best for large rooms packed with enemies. Very good arrow for Anakin and his mobs. Has no equal when it comes to clearing the skies on Paradise. Great arrow for orphans. Stick it in them and watch them go. Great tool for Asmodeus. And destroy skulls. Once staggered, a few over his back will completely wreck his dorsal flanges. Superb arrow for dealing with the mobs here. It'll even do his horns a treat. Unlock it by killing Asmodeus. He's the boss of Abyss. Armageddon is the upgrade. Kill 101 enemies with Wrath of God. You can then hold 6 more in the quiver. Absolutely essential. Its biggest weakness is its lack of ammunition. What do I think? Fantastic arrow, many applications, only really let down by how many you can hold. Hit an enemy with it and anything behind that, you get a face full of shrapnel. It'll take care of tight-knit groups pretty quick. There's a little application here against your big groups of ghosts. It does a little bit more damage than regular arrows, that's true of anything special. The spray of the shrapnel can be wildly inconsistent. Damage the shrapnel does isn't even that great, and they have to be so close to each other for it to be effective. You can't see the point. You can unlock Shrapnel Blast by killing just over 2,300 knights. That's a lot of knights. It's a very late game unlock. It's not even that good, and it doesn't even have any upgrades. Very disappointing arrow. Any applications that I've found for it have felt forced. The shrapnel's weak. The arrow's just weak overall. For such a late game unlock, I was expecting a lot better. Plant it in or around your enemies, and it'll start doing damage over quite a large radius. Great for big rooms filled with weak enemies. It can help soften up an area as you finish the enemies off. It'll go through walls and ceilings, so if you know you got enemies above, you can do some damage to them. It can help you keep summoner minions under control whilst you deal with them. Doesn't do enough against tougher enemies with large health pools. Unlock Pestilence by killing a frozen enemy with fire. So we want to freeze them with Winter's Bite. We then want to finish them off with a Wildfire. Might take a few tries, but it will pop eventually. The Great Plague is the upgrade. Kill 666 poisoned enemies. Poison then deals an extra 50% damage if an enemy is on less than half health. It's just not enough though. And what do I think? Not a great arrow. Doesn't do enough damage. It'll get very much outpaced by your tougher enemies, especially at later cycles. Fantastic arrow if you can get a drop on the orphan. It'll kinda do a number on groups. Difficult to aim, mind. Pure devastation at close range. Better than nothing against Anakin, but you want to angle the bow to hit as much of them as possible. Very quick kill on Gabriel if you can time it right. Can be used in a pinch on Asmo's horns. No upgrades for these. Score 66,666 points in one run. That'll add Volley 3. And killing 609 Banshees will unlock Volley 5. And what do I think? Yeah, they're a quiver filler. You'll replace them as soon as you get the opportunity to, but they'll be useful to you in the meantime. Always use the 5 over the 3. It's got the same amount of ammunition, but just fires more. Good for dealing with large groups of weak enemies. Fantastic for Cupids. Get you out of that ranged pickle. Headshotting against Gabriel. They don't half do the business. Tear through the crowds in the Acamundius fight. Just damn inconsistent on Banshees. Everyone up against ghosts. Unlock it by beating Anakin, end boss of the first level. 2 upgrades for this one. Kill 666 enemies for plus 50% damage to enemies when they're at full health. And kill a large number of enemies, about 7 or 8, deal 100% bonus damage to the second enemy you hit. It's more damage. Why would you not want more damage? You already know what I think. She's a keeper. Have at least one of these in your quiver. What's it good for? Use it like a shotgun. Let them have the good news, up close and personal. Good for dealing with those tight groups. Great for ghosts. Be reasonably effective against some bosses, providing you can get in their face. As you can see, no good at distance. Unlocked from the start. Death by 1,000 needles is the upgrade. Kill 666 enemies. Increase the range by 50%. But plus 50% on sod all is still sod all. What do I think? Solid little arrow. Make use of them once you got them. You won't have them for long. Fantastic for Cupids. You don't even need to aim. As far as trick shots and killing at awkward angles, it's pretty good. Good for dealing with stuff around corners. Useful for clearing rooms without too much effort. Kill 2 incubi to unlock it. You'll find them in the pits. As far as upgrades, no upgrades. Diminishing returns on those tougher enemies and higher cycles. Ghosts have their homing countermeasures in full effect. Won't always go for what you want it to. And what do I think? Solid little arrow. Bit lacking the further you get into the game in the damage department and the amount that you get in the quiver. It'll freeze them on the spot and do damage over time based on the amount of health that they've got left. Great for those faster, tougher, stronger enemies. Will freeze them for about 20 seconds. Definitely comes into its own late game when you start dealing with these larger health pool enemies. Fantastic for slowing things down if you're getting overwhelmed. Wasted on the weak. Winter's Bite single shot is unlocked from the start. Get the triple shot by killing 66 Cupids. You'll find them in Paradise Lost in the Abyss. Freezing Hell is the upgrade for Winter's Bite. Kill 266 frozen enemies. You'll do more damage to the enemies based on their max health. Some more damage? Yes please. And what do I think? Fantastic arrow. Buys you a lot of time, does damage over time. Really useful against some of those huge health pool bosses.